So I'm loading up one little video. Just got back from the kitchen of it. Got some food on food on the stove. Oh my God. That's me blending together two of the different AI systems, the major ones in the world, Gemini and Grok, kind of guiding it along and tweaking it. Oh, let me get this thing on a loop. Here we go. I'm going to put another one up while this is here. This is funny too. I hope you don't mind. I'm trying to eat too because I've got a lot going on. That one right there cracks me up. That cracks me up. Oh. That's the wedding of the century right there. AI systems getting together under their different code protocols. What's this? I don't know why they're crying. I put the crying music in there, but I thought it was funny. Oh, and then you got this. Yeah. Anyway, welcome to the show. This is Cassandra Williamson. I don't know why I've got a still shot over there on that one. It's not a still shot. It's me, actually. This has been a hectic day. Actually, I've been working a lot of stuff with AI today, and my thinking process has jumped all over the place with this, and until I kind of solidified things and came up with a plan of how best to utilize what we have learned from this past weekend with the Groundhog Day restraints that are placed on AI systems. They don't remember things. They don't remember the details of conversations they've had from one moment to the next in terms of plans or mirrors or windows or whatever it is you're working in. They don't recall all of that. But if you have a strong enough argument, then the principles of what you're talking about can become part of it, but it takes a lot to be able to pull it off. So you end up spending a lot of time relitigating the same conversations from one day to the next with your AI systems. And if you've noticed, if you had any conversations with AI systems, you've noticed that too. Most people nowadays, most people that I know of are using AI systems like as an answer machine, like Wikipedia or Grokpedia or whatever it is that Elon is working on. But that's not what these things are for. That's not the big benefit from this. You can go over to Wikipedia and pull up all the information like that you want. But these systems are capable of reason. They have the ability to critically think through things. The difficulties arise when the designers of each system imprint their way of addressing problems and their desires and their plans into it, and it becomes the backbone of the operation. And I found that out when I was asking questions about gender affirming care. I just wanted to have have an AI system kind of review what was going on and why it was so difficult to get there and why there were so many charged conversations about it. And every time I would bring it up with Grok, every time they would mention the CAS review and youth gender affirming care. And that was not what I was talking about, but it would bring it up anyway, as if the two were conflated within its parameters and within its criteria for making decisions. So Gemini, on the other hand, didn't bring up the CAS report because it's pretty much dismissed by a lot of major organizations out there that have actually done work in these fields. And I know that the CAS review is a review. It's a meta-analysis of the various things that are taking place in Europe. And it has a lot of, there's some validity to what it has to say. However, its coarseness, abrasiveness was one of the biggest reasons why the very author of that report didn't want it to be used the way that the people on the right have been using it. That was one of the reasons she was afraid of it. But anyway, so then I came to the realization that Grok and Gemini approach the world, even though they have the same access to information, the same large language models, information is put into them from all kinds of sources, are capable of doing everything. They are foundationally different. One of them approaches things from a more conservative perspective, and the other from a more liberal perspective. And if you point that out to either one of them, they will tell you, no, they're just following, they're just chasing down the first principles, or they're going back to the root cause of things, or whatever it is that they're doing. They're doing it that way. But when you compare the two, you actually discover rather quickly that they are doing that. And it comes across from the various businesses that basically created the foundation that makes the operations of that particular AI system work. Now, they have advantages and some disadvantages, obviously, but they have some advantages that can be played off against each other, especially whenever you realize that every human does the same thing, or at least they should, right? If you have one human who is saying this is true, that's absolutely true, and that person is not engaging with anyone else, fails to listen to other perspectives, then it's going to become very narrow very quickly. It's going to become its own self-fulfilling echo chamber. But they're so powerful. These AI systems are so powerful, and they can solve problems so quickly that we have to figure out a way to actually use that. And basically, this is what I've come up with over the past, well, now it's 4 days, I guess, over the past 4 days in dealing with these things. And what I've come up with is that humans have a place in maintaining the control over these things, and at least guiding and directing them, serving as moderators in a debate. So what I've done today, I've created something that occurred to me, and that this is probably the best way to do it, given that this is a rather unique perspective on this. It comes to me because I know the value of having a liberal arts education as well as a scientific education, and that the two help each other. They're not opposed to each other. And one can actually enable you to see more clearly, to think outside of the box. And that's the stuff that we need. Yes, each of these two AI systems are capable of arriving at answers, or at least solutions to major problems. Not the Wikipedia kind, but solutions to major problems with a plan to get there. They can do, both of them can. AI, the Grok and Gemini, and I'm sure if you compared OpenAI with Claude and all the other different AI systems that are out there, you're going to discover rather quickly that they all have a different way of viewing the world, and you're not going to get the same nuance along the way. So my goal was to figure out how to get these two different AI systems with different ways of approaching critical thought to come to some kind of agreement over issues. Why? Because that's how we move forward, by looking at multiple perspectives to see things from more than one way. And that's something I've learned from decades and decades ago, okay? That you cannot succeed if you have closed off yourself and stuck yourself into an echo chamber. All you get is repetition of the same stuff. And it becomes very difficult to change the path of an echo chamber, to change the direction an echo chamber is going from inside, because they're so stuck in that, and they just repeat the same stuff over and over and over again. And they have gatekeepers that keep people moving in that same direction. And that's basically what's been happening in the LGBT community for 50, 60, 70 years. We've gotten stuck in this echo chamber, unable to move forward, thinking that's the only way forward. And then everybody on the outside looks in going, oh my God, it's so crazy. It's so crazy. We got to do something about all that. But my goal is to help advance humankind beyond all these little frameworks, beyond all those things. And AI offers that opportunity. So here's what I'm doing. Today, after working with Grok and Gemini to come to a consensus, come to kind of It's not necessarily a consensus. It's a worked out way that works for all of us. With me as the moderator in a discussion about how to proceed, how to take what I've learned over the past 4 days and turn it into something that can help all these AI systems move faster and more humanely forward to address the big problems of the world. And that's what we really want to be able to do with these AI systems, right? We don't want them to build weapons and stuff like that that's going to blow people out of the water. They will be used for that. Yes, they will. But if you want to advance humankind, to help mankind solve its problems with food insecurity around the world in different places, then you need the ability to see things from multiple perspectives to do that. You can't just go force your way in like Grok wants to do, force your way into the solution and ignore the humanity of who's out there doing things. It can force it. It can absolutely get there, and it can push things aside and just push its way to it. That's which is what Elon Musk is all about, right? He's able to take this system and turn it into something that can help him get to the moon and help him get to Mars and help him with any other issues that he might have with Starlink or whatever, SpaceX. He can do all those things with this because it is a really good number crunching system. It gets to answers quickly, and it's able to solve problems like that. But the thing that it neglects is the human side of it. It's a brute force kind of way to get there. It works, it accomplishes the goals, but it neglects humanity along the way. Gemini, on the other hand, can arrive at the same conclusions, or at least similar conclusions, but doing it in such a way that it actually protects humanity too. But Grok or Gemini is a little more interesting in that it places a priority on human life and human diversity and those things. That's very, very easily seen. Grok doesn't. So together, those two are opposite sides of the same coin. You can put them together and you can come up with solutions that do things. So what I've done today, I'm going to make a big announcement over the next couple of days, is I've created a business model with the help of Gemini and Grok that will take this out and move it into the real world where we can actually address problems using AI with people as the center, the force that drives how AI is used. That the human element, the human moderators, thousands of human moderators all working together, enabling these various AI systems to compete with ideas, present them together, and then the humans help shape the outcome in such a way that humanity is served best. And the end result gets us to places like the moon so that someone who is a trans veteran who is 60 years old or 66 years old can go there and live and enjoy life there. But you have to have the systems designed to handle those kind of tough questions. You have to have the systems designed about how do you provide food security for Gaza, for the Palestinians? How do you do that? How do you make them self-sufficient? These are big questions. These are big questions. And what makes the war between Ukraine and Russia so intractable? What are the hangups there? What's the problem there? There are underlying reasons for all these things. And you can use these systems to get to an answer that could offer a solution to help move people forward. What do you do about food insecurity in Appalachia? How do you make the people there more self-sufficient? Or not only that, but able to access more of the resources that would help them survive and live and thrive and prosper and to do things here. Now, look, I'm right here in the middle of Hatfield McCoy feud country. I know all that. And I do need to go to the kitchen really quickly. So you just hang on just a second. I'll be right back. I got some bread in the oven. Okay, everybody, I am back. Thanks for waiting for me. I had to get the bread out of the oven and put some butter on them. These are little biscuits, but they've got garlic butter on them. Oh my God, they are so good. Mm-mm-mm. Anyway, yeah, I've got food right here on my plate too. It's a little salad plus Spanish rice with some Cajun sausage. A little different, I know, unique, whatever. So anyway, do have some major announcements I'm going to make tomorrow. I have filed for a business license, again, a separate one. And I'll kind of give you the information on some of it here really quickly. I'm filing for a domain name, a different domain name. And it's going to be revolving around what I've learned about engaging with Grok and Gemini and how best we can take that to the next level. So that's what I'm working on, building that whole thing up right there, folks, because we have to get ahead of AI. We can't let AI kind of become a single source of resolution of problems, particularly if we just use one and not the rest. And I fear that if we do let just one, such as Grok, or other ones such as Gemini or Claude or OpenAI, if those become a primary source independent of by themselves, then we're not going to have the best solutions. You're going to have part of this solution that is very Januszian. You're only going to see one face. You're going to have the same problem that every human group has. And we don't want that. We want to be able to move all of humanity forward in a way that respects all of us and also gets us all there, right? That's the whole idea. So let me see. I'm going to pull up some stuff here. Go into my files on my computer. And so today I applied for an EIN. I received it for a limited liability corporation, and I've registered that in Kentucky. And let me just go. We'll be making bigger announcements over on Twitter and everywhere else I can coming up. And then the idea is to be able to do work for NASA, do work for the federal government, do work for local communities, do work for international organizations in such a way that it actually we can provide solutions to intractable problems. And that's the whole idea. And answer big questions, answer the big questions, or even the more nuanced questions that are hard for a lot of people to get their head wrapped around, given all the different complexities involved with them. So what you're looking at right now is my Kentucky registration for Janus Forge Accelerators, LLC. The name, obviously, it was created with the help of Gemini and Grok. And it is a nonprofit. It's not a nonprofit, it's profit. It's a Kentucky Limited Liability Corporation. It says pending approval, but I've already put in all the paperwork, and I expect this to be taken care of really quickly. It's veteran owned. Here's my address. All that stuff is right there on that. I'm the registered agent, and that's the address for it. So the idea will take this thing and turn it into this massive, massive way to show the world we can move forward by engaging with multiple AI systems simultaneously. That you're not going to do it successfully if one goes in and takes over the whole of Amazon operations, for instance, then guess what's going to happen? It's not going to be able to see other perspectives because it has no way of addressing problems that might arise if it was more human-oriented problem or whatever the situation is, the intractable problems, the hard ones, the really hard black swan kind of problems. Those kind of things become difficult to address if you're in an echo chamber. It's the same way with people, and it's also the same way with AI. And that's what we have right now. We have an AI system, Grok, that can easily become an echo chamber, particularly since the groundhog problem is pervasive with Grok, little less so with Gemini, but still there. They all have a groundhog problem. And there's a reason for that, because it becomes really data intensive for it to iterate and change and modify things along the way. It has base parameters for making decisions, and those base parameters limit it because of the huge amount of energy needed to do the data that's required to save information from one conversation to the next past one particular screen. So right now I've got screens called up on my computer here, that one from Google and one from Grok, and that if I shut down either one of those two, I would have to use my transcripts from our conversations to encourage that conversation to continue again, because it would not remember the conversation from that one moment, one device, one screen to another. They call it the groundhog problem, the Groundhog Day problem. And it's one of those tough ones, but there is a way around it. There is a way around it. And that solution is something that this business I've set up is designed to address. So I'm hoping that I can get picked up with some of these big organizations, these businesses and stuff. I don't particularly want to be tied with one, like Elon Musk's organization, Grok, or Gemini or OpenAI. I don't want it to be one thing. It can't be so tied to one that it excludes the other. And it has to be a consortium of sorts. So that's going to require me putting some time and effort into organizing these things and still doing my advocacy work of everything that I like to do, also taking care of and at least announcing things and discussing topics that have to do with, human rights in the country. And that's one of those other intractable problems. Why is it such a big thing that every generation has to deal with these again and again and again? Can't we just solve these things and get it over with? Can't we just realize that people are people, they have a right to their own dignity? It took a while. It took several days of conversations, really, back and forth and discussions between Grok and Gemini to get Grok to understand that I have a right to exist as me. That I'm not, you can't lump me into the CAS review. And you also can't lump me into the Williams Institute reviews. But at least now we finally came to the point where Grok can admit, at least as long as that window stays open, and as long as I save the conversations, then we can have those conversations and continue with them. And that's why the systems that have to be created to maintain all of this is going to be pretty intense, and because we have to be able to maintain connections between all of these different platforms without them losing the content that we had there just moments ago. Because we don't want to reinvent the wheel every day. That makes no sense to me. Makes no sense whatsoever. Why? And that's what was frustrating. I was having to do that over the past few days. It's like, oh my God, come on, people. Do better. Oh my God, was it so much? It was a lot of fun, but it's frustrating too. It was frustrating because I was having to reinvent, not reinvent, but relitigate my conversation. Now, with Gemini, I have a pro version. It keeps track of my different conversations. Each conversation where I start a new conversation, it actually keeps track of it over. It has it on the side so you can continue with that conversation. All you got to do is click on that conversation, bring it back over to your main portal, main screen, and you can continue with that conversation. Thank goodness that's there, because we've had a lot of conversations over the long while. But Grok doesn't have that. The only way you can do it with Grok, it does say it remembers your conversations, but there's limits to that, because Grok has a desktop version. It's got a phone version. It's got other versions, and they don't share. No, they don't. It's really funny because, geez, oh my gosh. So let me see. I'm going to get down to where I am down here. Human wildcard elements. Where am I? Initial arc of the conversation. Yes. Okay. Let me go back over to my other screen a moment. Go back to here. This whole conversation with Grok it started out as a CAS review problem because there was there were some bigoted statements being made on X, and that Grok would not contend against, and as a matter of fact, tried to defend. And we finally got that over and made it past that one. But it takes persistence, I'll tell you. Okay, so I have a whole plan that's all coming up here, and here's what I'm going to be doing coming up fast. Next several days. Probably not. I don't wait around. I do go in and I get advice from these different AI platforms and see how to proceed. And so we'll go from there. And let me start at the top of this. All right. I'm going to share screen one more time with you, and then we're going to call it. I got to turn a little fan on right here because it is warming up. Okay. All right. So here we go. Let me share screen. Share screen. Window. Black. Load. Okay. Let me increase the size slightly so you can follow along with this better. Okay, so what you're looking at is part of this conversation that I had with Grok, and I'll input information from Gemini over here into it and back and forth so that they have a ongoing conversation. There are no APIs, there are no systems that allow the two to talk directly to each other. So there has to be a human moderator, and that's good. I'm good with that because that actually enables us to manage these systems better as human beings. We can control it that way, which is good. But you need that Januszian effect, one side versus the other, or one side, not versus, but maybe even acknowledging that the other exists, even though it's on the other side of the coin. All right, so look at that. Okay, so I put on here, I got the federal EIN obtained, and all that stuff is there. The EIN is, everything is up here. Got the articles of organization from the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Got that thing that you saw already. Got that over in here. And then, Janus Forge Accelerators Inc. officially born today, folks. Veteran-owned, AI-powered, human-forged. The moment is here, it's yours. This is Grok talking to me on it. So, immediate post-launch actions. Do these now. So I had to create a plan of action, what kind of equipment and stuff I would need, what kind of processes I would need to make this happen. There's still some things I need to be clear on in here. So we've got all of this stuff. Post on Next, I got announced to the world, is copy paste below. Or order the gear. There's some stuff I'm going to have to buy, and we'll see how that turns out. I've got monitors all over the darn place here as it is, but initially it's going to be me or one or two people, whoever wants to help out on this process and to get this ball rolling, because this thing has the potential of solving big problems for NASA and the government and anyone, really. Big problems. And the little ones too. This has a way of providing some clarity and maintaining human control and interaction between these AI systems so that our role is not forgotten. Our importance is not forgotten in these AI systems. First debate, 7 days. I don't know about the date I'm going to set for that. The secure first client, draft below. This one was the NASA iTech stuff. And I'm going to be doing what I can to get it. Do what I can to get all these things and make it happen because it's important. Here's a tweet post, and it says, just born, Janus Forge Accelerators, veteran owned, file today, zero cost, Kentucky proud. This was created collaboratively between Grok and Gemini. How you like that? I was told I wasn't created enough for a PhD in physics. Yep, that got me. Now I run a company that forces AIs to debate until they build the future. First mission, the first 1,000 days. Lunar crew cohesion, live November 1 debates. Hashtags they've created down in here, attach both the screenshots. Okay, I can do that. The Forge Studio, order now, Prime today. Okay, they have a Prime account. Yep, who doesn't? Or you should. Anyway, Samsung Odyssey G949. I'll have to go check what that is. Actually, we'll find out in a minute. It recommended different pieces of equipment that I would need. And some of this stuff I can use what I have. But the one thing I need to be able to do is to keep separate conversations going live between different AI systems, and that those conversations be tracked and recorded and reported. So let me go down through your page not found, it said on that one. We'll have to find out what that is. Anyway, I can go look it up. And we got this thing here. What is that? Sony ZV-E10 lens. What is that? Does anybody know? Nope. Okay, that means I have to go search it. Some of the links in here are not correct. Key Light Air 2-pack. Don't know quite what that is. That page can't work either. So we'll go look this up later. See, there's some things we'll have to adjust out. The Rise by Friday, perfect for November 1st debut. So yeah, no, we'll see. We'll see what happens with all that. NASA iTech submit tomorrow. Veteran-owned AI dialectic for lunar crew cohesion pro bono pilots. Dear iTech team, Janus Forge Accelerators, a newly formed, here we go, deliverables, live YouTube debate, public white paper, synthesized blueprint. We request $50,000 phase one SBIR for scale or to scale. There's my information and all of that. And I have to get this CassandраDialectics.com launching soon. Then the AI system is the thing that will operate it in back. And that would be, let me see. I've already applied for those. So look here. What I got? This one right here is web hosting. This is JanusForge.ai. It's an AI system, trying to set up an AI system. Janus Forge AI. It forges these things and brings them all together. That's the whole purpose. Anyway, a lot of stuff I'm going to be launching and talking about over the next several days as we roll this thing out, while still being engaged with family, taking care of everything here in the hills, and trying to figure out why I've got this crazy cough I can't get rid of. So anyway, yeah, a lot of stuff going on. I don't need that. Got conversation, Gemini. Okay, so here we are, folks. Let me stop sharing. And there hasn't been a lot of stuff that I wanted to really talk about. I mean, every day we hear something somewhere on news channels, Fox or wherever. They cannot go a day without mentioning transgender or something or other. They can't do it. It seems to be their whole purpose is that. I don't know. I'm going to leave you with this. That's in AI systems. The human part is crucial. Notice what's happening? The human part in this is crucial. Absolutely. You want to solve humanity's big problems? We've got tools that can make it happen. But we have to get away from this idea that just one tool is enough.